What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the A Show with the Kings of Pro Wrestling Podcasts. Happy Black History Month. It's the 1st of February. I'm Justin.
Or the
Here with
second.
me. Or the second. Yeah, well, for Patreon, it's the first. But that's why I tell people to get a Patreon. You get it early. You can listen to it on your commute Wednesday, Tuesday. What's going on, Meelz?
We are here. We are counting down the days. We haven't set it's a tentative date, but there is a date for our one chip challenge type of thing, because we want to thank, first of all, I have to do this out the gate, off the
Yeah.
rip. Thank
Yes.
everybody for becoming a patron, because the idea when we first started this, I was like, oh, we might get like 39, 41, maybe. But the fact we actually reached 100 blew my fucking mind. Like, I'm like, bro, we are in there like swimwear. So thank you guys for signing up to become patrons. And yeah, we're gonna thank you a lot this month, because we got a lot of content coming down this month, coming down the pipeline. To be honest with you, I'm starting the X8 Diaries. We got Legendary Run, featuring Batista. We got
Yes.
we got Spot Callers, of course, which is a Patreon exclusive. We gotta warm back up the A-list type thing as well, so we can start getting that out to the people as well. I want to solidify that top 50, because there's some people that need to move in, and there's some people that need to move
And
out.
we have new members on the Patreon now, so that makes the argument even crazier now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we
So
should shout out these people. We
yeah,
should
hold on,
definitely shout out these people. Let's
let's do
pull it
it.
up. But in the meantime, yeah. So thank you guys for all signing up. And yeah, man, it's Black History Month. I'm very here. I feel like, listen, with my first day in Black History Month, I already supported Black business. Now, Press, I don't think is a really black business, but they're supporting Black business, so I'm supporting them supporting Black businesses.
Yeah.
Because my homegirl Jordan is now has a collaboration with Press, and they're showcasing her art and just kind of her brand, True to Us, which is a Black owned streetwear brand. And she's just an overall amazing creative, and I support her in everything that she does, because she does
Yeah.
great, amazing stuff. So shout out to her. And in the meantime, yeah, thank you guys for supporting our black ass business.
Absolutely. Um, let's start with these shout outs. Shout out to Terrence, Rashad, Jamie, Nico. I think actually Nico's in the he's in the Patreon now. Shout out to him, man.
Yeah, he's in the
Patreon now.
Discord. He's in the Discord.
Not the Patreon, the Discord, sorry. Paul Crenshaw, Houston's very own, longtime listener of the show. He's in our
We
Hall of Fame.
Yeah, so we got to set up the episode with you, my friend.
Yeah, so let us know. You want to be on the A Show? You want to be on Spot Callers? Let us know. You want to be on the War Report? Yo, people love the War Report. That's one thing I will say. People love the War Report. They love that show. Shout out to Cyrus and Quan, Donald Lambert. Shout out to you. He gave me the I believe he gave me, if this is the same guy on Twitter, he gave me the name for Walter. His name's Terry now, all caps. His name is Terry. Shout out to you. That's his creation. So shout out to him. I told him I was going to give him some love on the podcast about that. Adam Littman, Brandon Abdon, all new members of the Patreon. Thank you guys. Like, again, like Meelz said, just the outpouring of love and support. And some people want to see.
People and masochism that you just kind of really want us to see this
Yeah,
fucking us die eating this chip. But you know what? It's fair. It is what it is.
yeah. Yeah. So I mean, we got a lot of stuff coming out.
Yeah. Also,
Um,
another set of shout outs as well. Got to do this quick shout out as well. So last week, Royal Rumble pool. Plenty to pool about for the Royal Rumble. There are 2 separate pools. We have 4 separate winners. Want to give a shout out to First of all, I got to go through our damn thing, because we've been tweeting like crazy.
mhm.
Want to give a shout out to the Patreon winners first, at Notorious Big Tim and Rappers Are Actors. For both you
Wow.
guys being the Patreon winners, you both have won $150. It has already been signed, sealed, and delivered. I would recommend flipping that into about $300 and doing a lot of Foxy Brown affirmative action math to get yourself to $1,000.
Listen, man. I never thought in my day of days I'd have to give Chris Mack and Tim any damn money. Here we, I gotta give these 2 motherfuckers money.
And then our pool winners for the Twitter pool and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
We have, first of all, man, Brandon Douglas Christ on Twitter.
Yes, sir.
Looking forward to that, my friend. Let me know when you want to be on the show. And then of course, we have Asia Petty Trees Thinking, who is very excited to be on the show in the future. She has already set up a date. She knows when she wants to do this. She knows when she wants to come on. We are preparing for that. We are absolutely preparing for that, man.
I don't think the A show's ready
I don't
for
think
Petty.
I don't think we're ready. But guess what? The world, you're gonna have to prepare yourselves because when she comes on, I'm ready to hear everything that she's got to say
Yeah.
because yeah, like there's a lot going on. But shout out to you guys. Of course we're gonna talk about the Royal Rumble later in the show. But we did talk about it in our spaces last Saturday. Sorry if we're doing like a lot of like house cleaning and the shit isn't like a fun banter
It was a
conversation.
big weekend. It was a
It,
big weekend last weekend.
yeah. But we did do a full Twitter Spaces recapping the Rumble. So shout out to everyone who was there. Shout out to Jeff. Shout out to Cal. Shout out to Cornell. Shout out to Sid. Sid
Yeah.
always coming dropping takes, which I'm very, very happy for. Shout out to Dion, of course, our social media manager on the A Show running things. And if you're staying tuned to our A Show, wow, we got so much stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
A Show Twitter, we have our A Show Black History Month. We're going back. We're doing it similar how we did last year, recapping a lot of moments. And these are, I would say, this year is a lot of like, it's a lot of recent stuff, but then it's also a lot of like deep cuts that I feel like we as a culture, we as people, we as wrestling fans will appreciate. The man posted about the debut of Booker T and TNA. And I
Yeah.
hadn't, that memory has been recessed in my mind forever, but rewatching it today was incredible. And then also watching the Street Profits win the tag team championships on Raw, which I feel like was the last big moment before the world went to shit, before the pandemic started.
These niggas jumped in the crowd, and I forgot about that. I was like, oh yeah, they did do that. And he grabbed the baby, and it's in the baby thing is actually in the here now forever or whatever, then now forever shit. And it's like, wait, y'all want to show that? It's their
Yeah,
baby.
nigga. Rona, listen, it was out there. I'm almost sure it was. I don't know if Corona was out there moving like that already. Actually, it probably was, to be honest with you.
Nigga,
But
it was definitely moving out there
and we
at
had
that
no
point.
idea. But
Yeah.
nonetheless, yes, continue to support us. Listen, Black Business, Black Podcast. Oh shit. You know what? I'm gonna do a lot more. I'm gonna do some more stuff. Hold on. I'm gonna do some more stuff. I want to
Okay.
also give a shout out. Of course, to Black Wrestling, 5 years doing that. Y'all doing the damn thing. Black Wrestling and everybody that you got going on over there. Want to give a shout out to Stack Guy Greg also on Cheap Heat with Peter Rosenberg. He interviewed The Miz last week. You guys need to check that out. Miz was very hot. Apparently, Greg says it wasn't his fault. It didn't sound like his fault. And then also want to give a shout out to Tiger Driver Chris for having me on last week for the segment. It was, oh gosh, why am I forgetting the name of the show? This is so embarrassing. But he had me on to talk about the Miz for about 30 minutes, so I would definitely check that out. It's a cool interview, so shout out to Chris for hitting me up and thinking about me. Um, he does a majority of this himself, so uh, yeah, it's just crazy. So shout out to him. Oh yes, Meelz breaks down why the Miz is awesome on Why They Rule. It only has 140 views right now because I assume people hate the Miz, but I love the Miz. So
Wow. Hey, that's all I need to hear.
fuck you, man. You know what? We bumping this up. You make sure you watch Why I Love the Miz. How about that? We running it
I
back
watched
today.
it. Listen. I watched it. Okay. I shared it too. Okay, so
Okay.
you can't say I didn't show love. I shared it and I
Okay.
watched it
Okay.
and I showed love. I'm just saying, not everyone has the same propensity for Ms. Love as you do. I'm just, it's out there. Y'all feel me? Right? Know what I'm saying?
All right. Let's move on.
Me and you were talking about Pokemon Arceus before we got on.
It's actually called. It's actually pronounced Arceus,
Arceus. I
which
say
is
it both ways.
nah. The black way is Arceus.
No, black way is Arceus's.
But yes, let's talk about this game that dropped last Friday.
So you know me, I'm not. I won't say hard, but
You
I expect
expect
a lot.
more.
Yes, I expect a lot from my games. I expect a lot from Nintendo.
Whereas I don't
And
expect shit.
yeah, and that's the problem. That's the problem. You don't expect anything.
No.
And so I've known about this game for a while. I think I've always said that I would cop this, but I wouldn't cop Diamond and Pearl. So I did live up to my word. I did say what I was gonna do. I said I was gonna cop it. Waited for some reviews. Of course, as I surmised, the reviews were mostly probably gonna be capped, and they are. I do think giving this game I really do think giving this game a 9 is like wild, yo. Like
I think so as well.
off rip. Like they gave it like straight up 9. I thought that was wild, but it is what it is. So, and just full this, I got it. I'm enjoying it. It's a good Pokemon game because it's different, but it has the same Pokemon rot in terms of just the dialogue, just like weird stuff. Like in order to go back to the village, you have to check in with the professor before you do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like
That
that.
is so weird. Why do you have to do that?
Yeah, that's kind of like it makes me not want to go back to the village, but then I'm also like, but I gotta check in. How am I supposed
You
to get
can't
these
trade.
stars?
Yeah, you can't trade unless you do that.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of I love the range of motion for your trainer. I love the options you have on foot. I love the way the battles are done. I love how streamlined the game isn't stopping you to say, "Hey, this Pokemon learned a new move." It's saying, "Hey, they learned a new move. Maybe check it out when you want to. If
Hmm.
not, that's cool too." I like that. I like that.
I like it. I like that I'm able to switch out like what they know with like, okay, I don't want to use quick attack right now. Maybe I'll come back to it later. Let me
Hmm.
switch this out for flamethrower, and then I can switch them back if I ever wanted to. I absolutely 100% agree with you because the dialogue, as for most Pokemon games, is kind of mind numbing, and it's to the point where I don't even pay attention to what they're saying anymore, because I know by the time they finish what they're saying, I'm just gonna go to the thing, see the little pop up, and said, "Oh, you got to go see this guy to talk about
Yeah,
this."
I almost want to make an argument that these games should have no story.
No, I need story. I need story. I need it.
Do you care? But do you care? Like you don't care about this story, do you?
I
You
don't care about the
they
dialogue, but oh well, this story, no. But like,
it's all potato mochi all the time. That's all these
yeah,
things.
this story is like very. I was gonna say this on Mount Silver whenever we reviewed it, but it's very like it seems like a version of reality that South Park made, and that everyone is talking with like a voice of like, and dost thou hit thine, Pokeball with them strapping potato skins, and just like moving around, and you're in this reality where it's like, is everyone, you feel like you're kind of walking around in like a historical reenactment for, for like forever. And I think that's still like the basis of the game, because the game is, I also was going to use this, listen to my Silver podcast, subscribe to the Lookout, but I was also going to say like this is the same plot as like Black Knight with Martin Lawrence.
Yeah.
This thing goes back.
It's clear. It's clear. Well, I'm black in the game.
So that's also, so here's my problem. Here's my also problem with that Pokemon hasn't fixed. Yo, black people don't look like this. You just change the skin of someone. And I kind of get what they want to do, but like maybe they don't want to be like, oh, we got to change every feature. Or, like you don't want to have big lips and wide noses and all this other stuff like that. But like, because they're the most like asexual ass man and or woman, but
Hmm.
we need better features. I can't have I don't like having the same face as everybody else. I really
Yeah.
don't. And
I
just
mean,
darker skin.
they do need a more robust character creation system. I will agree with you on that. It needs to be a lot more robust. It needs to be a lot more like streamlined. Like I do agree with you on that. Like I'm black, so when it was like, "Why you dressed like that?" and I was like, "Oh no, what am I doing?"
Not again. Um but yeah. I feel like going back to my old clothes, to be honest with you, because the drip of, I feel like I haven't gotten to the point where there's like great clothes yet, maybe. But nigga, I'm not trying to dress up like Ryu. Like, come on, man. Like or
I'll
Ryu.
be fair. Before I got the special mystery gift clothing that I put the Growlithe fit is fire, but like before I even got to that, like I was dressed as right. That was the first thing I
Nigga was
bought.
dressed like Ken fucking Masters going through the game.
All right, so you know what? I'm out. I enjoy the game. If you like the game, hit me up for a friend code. Let's trade. Let's. I mean, you can't really do much with other people in the
No, not
game.
really. It is not. This is not a game for other people to enjoy. This is not a game for if you're in thing of battling. This is not a very big battle game. You hit 1 or 2 moves, 3 moves, and then it's over with. I will say you haven't gotten to the cleaver shit yet. Prepare to run for your life. You'll figure out how to beat it because you played a lot more video games than I have, and there's a very easy way to beat it.
Yeah.
But prepare to run for your life. I was frightened the first time I fought this
I ain't
nigga.
listen, I ain't running from shit.
You gotta
This is
run,
a
bro.
this isn't even worth my time to run from him. He's a punk.
Nah, you probably beat him.
He's a monkey. But that's
Okay.
racial.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Let's get the Patreon, shall we?
Yes.
All right. No holds barred. We talked about the AEW mixtape on Patreon today. Check that out. We're doing a really cool activity because we do activities for Patreon.
Absolutely.
Next piece of AEW news I have. We got some big interview news, so I want to get this out of the way. Christian Cage celebrated his anniversary at AEW this week, saying that he had such a crazy year last year. Wrestled in some of the biggest shows for both companies, and he said, "You know what? I'm going to retire in AEW. This is where he's going to lay his hat for the rest of his career." I lost it when I saw this shit. Is he already in the hall? He's already in the hall, right?
In the WWE Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
No, he is not.
Yeah, okay.
Is he in the? I don't even think he's in the Impact Hall of Fame yet. Like,
listen, man, this ain't gonna get you to the main event slot.
Listen, I understand. If you see what Edge is doing now, he knows that there is no chance for him.
No chance he's being used better.
Yeah, no chance. Now, I feel like, don't get me wrong, Christian is a great hand, and I feel like if he was still in WWE, they would have found a way to incorporate him, and then eventually they'd have been like, actually, maybe you're too old, like, let's not do this. So this is probably the best spot for him. However, I mean, it is what it is at this point. If he wants to retire in AEW, it is what it is. I like Christian as an in-ring competitor. I haven't really liked him as a character since he's come to AEW, and I know he has character within him, other than
he's a smart guy.
Yeah, he's a smart guy.
He's a smart guy. He has to know that unless he's helping people, which like we found out like last week, like Daniel Bryan's helping Jay, which is a great idea, fantastic idea. He knows what to do. I feel like those niggas don't know what to do with her over there. He would know, but it risks the question of, are you signing these people to be coaches and stars, or what's the purpose of them being there? Other than, you shit on the PC, but then you're basically like creating a PC with all of the $1 million guys you signed. You think Punk's teaching anybody anything?
I think he's good to go for advice. I don't know if he's actually putting his hat down and getting in the ring with all these people, but I think he's definitely giving people advice in terms of things to do. But I mean, the roster needs it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's not, the roster needs it. I think, especially as a young roster like that, and a lot of them haven't gone to WWE, the Performance Center. I'm not saying WWE is the only place you're going to learn how to wrestle well, but they truly refine the things by doing it over and over and over and over again. But I do think that they need a different perspective other than the indie perspective of like, let's flip and do a million things to make this crowd hot and begin to like slow it down. So that's where I see Christian could come in and definitely teach these people. And he is a smart guy, but there's got to be, I feel like there's more to his character than gritty guy who is chummy with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. There's got to be more.
Edge is having a blast. All right, he's listen, man. He's having a fun time. You saw how happy he was on Saturday.
I'm sure he wishes, bro. I'm sure he wish Christian was there, but they're just gonna run both companies. And to be honest with you, I know Edge, if he was not cleared to come back to WWE, he would have went to AEW, and I think that was a lot of part of the leverage as to why he's returned. But I think overall he's very much so glad that he's back in WWE because yeah,
Mhm.
I wouldn't know what an Edge in AEW. See, even during the comments about Christian, we talking about Edge. Um, even if
It's the Matt
Edge,
Jeff Hardy thing. It's the
y-
Matt Jeff Hardy thing all over again.
yeah, even well, so Matt Hardy said the same thing on an interview too. He was like, "Yo, that's why he's in." He says WWE always appreciated Jeff and Edge way more than Christian and Matt, and I'm like, "Duh!"
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, nigga.
have you seen? Did
Let's be
Christian
clear.
jump off the ladder and spear Jeff Hardy at WrestleMania 17, or did Edge and Edge did?
Let's be
What's
clear. If either of these two niggas was still in the company, they'd be almost fodder. Like almost would be beating them both at the same time, probably.
hmm
Like that's literally what they'd be used for. You used to get other people over. You know what I mean? Like it just is what it is, man. I wouldn't expect anything less. I wouldn't be like, oh, poor Christian. No,
I could see Christian in a
Christian.
better spot than Matt Hardy though. Matt Hardy like legitimately is walks like ass. So
He cannot move. No. Uh, next piece of news. This is kind of this one's a lot. You ready? There's a
yeah,
lot to talk
hmm
about. So Nia Jax was on oral session. I hate. Listen, man.
don't.
That's it. I don't even want to say it. It's a weird name. Oral sessions. She was on oral sessions, and
mm.
she talked about a lot of things, including I mean, where do you want to start? She says her final year in the company, she felt like something was off.
Well,
She basically. Oh, go ahead.
nah, let's start there. Let's start there with her release, and then we can talk about the reason for her release. But yeah, let's talk about that in terms of how she at least got her release.
So she says, that she opened by saying it's like Stockholm syndrome. And I said, oh boy. She said she was in this crazy abusive relationship with a company. There were good parts, and now it's done, and I get to be myself again. She says, when discussing her return, that she had surgery. She had double ACL surgery, which I mean explains a lot about how she was moving and why she wouldn't really bump a lot when she came back. But they basically said that they weren't going to use you. And COVID hit and it set the tone for the whole year. I was laying in bed and I got a call from talent relations, and this is when we were filming at the performance center. You're needed. We're filming your return in 2 hours. She said, wait, what? I was texting Heyman because he was running Raw. What is going on? I came back. The energy was different. Obviously, they're trying to work through a pandemic and everyone's scared. Nobody seemed happy. It was a weird, intense filming. We were at the PC trying to make the best of it. Something in the air didn't feel the same. So there was a change in guard on the corporate side.
I'm gonna keep it a buck. Most things during the pandemic don't feel the same. It's
No.
not the same as what it once was, and we're getting closer back to that now, and I think there's some sort of semblance, but it's still not even the same as it was prior to the pandemic. Um, Now I can relate with her on her reasons of why she felt like it. I mean, it's not like it was a voluntary reason that she chose the time to go, but it just essentially like things felt different. It didn't feel the same. There was something kind of off, and I think WWE is a major commitment. We've known people that worked in the WWE.
Mhm.
We've seen many superstars have gone. There's a major commitment that comes with it that sort of encapsulate a lot with your life. You're constantly on the go. It's like being on call for something constantly. And you're constantly on the go. You don't really have time to breathe. You don't really have time to kind of process a lot of different things. So it can seem like a lot, so much it encompasses your actual life. So I completely understand that. And I support the thing. They're like, okay, I want to take a step back from everything.
Yeah.
Um, I
so
completely go ahead.
so continuing on, just after a crazy couple weeks in wrestling, I was like, I need a break. Something's off. I don't feel right. I need a break. And John Laurinaitis gave it to her. When she was on the break, she said, I hit up, I didn't miss it. I felt fine. And I hit up John and she said, I was, my break's coming up, but I don't feel right now. Can we extend it to Rumble? And that was on a Wednesday. Then on Thursday, she called her back and he, basically let her go. He said, she was like, hey kid, I hate to do this. And she was like, am I being released? And he said, yeah, I'm so sorry due to budget cuts, the whole spiel. Okay, I'll take a pay cut if that's what's needed, just because I knew it was a whole script. He said, oh, that's not it. So you just want a total different change? And he said, yeah, we're going to put you on your 90 days. I hung up the phone and I was relieved. So this leads more credence to this not being, it's not a budget cut thing, but really a different direction thing from what it's seeming like to me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think it's a mixture of both, to be honest with you. I think
Yeah,
one ends up working because of the other.
yeah,
But um I mean, we're gonna get into the whole vaccine thing eventually, but I do think that's a major part of why they ended up releasing her.
yeah. Well,
Because
let's get right to the vaccine thing. That's the next quote here.
Mhm.
She said she stood her ground on things that she knew she was not that she stood her ground on things that she knew they weren't happy about. I chose not to get the vaccine. It was a personal choice, and I remember sitting down with Vince because the entire 2 years I was there, we were tested every day. I never popped positive or had COVID. He said, "Well, kid, you're not going to be able to fill some of your contractual duties." So, side note here, that would mean at the time there was the Biden mandate that you had to, like in New York, LA, several other cities, you had to be vaccinated to actually work.
Yeah.
So that's what Vince is talking about here. And she said, well, if that's the case, that's the case. It's a business. I understand you have to run your business. I feel relieved because I made the decision for myself and I stood my ground. I stood by how I felt and my gut feeling. If it doesn't sit right in my stomach, I can't force myself to do something I feel good with. Now, be clear here. Over 10, 20 million people have got the vaccine. Okay.
Mhm.
Nothing proven. And I'm not arguing with anybody about this. I know we're on the freak here. I'm not arguing with a single fucking soul about this. Not proving that this has killed
It's too
anybody.
yeah, it's too we're far too deep in the weeds to be arguing with people about this
I,
shit
I
anymore.
live in I live in Los Angeles. 80% vaccination rate, I believe. We're to a point where it's like there's not many people left that could get it and no one's dead. But you know what people are dying from? COVID-19. So there was a report that came out
Mhm.
in the New York Post sometime after she was released. And it was just so weird that all the wrestling journalists didn't seem to have a clue or an idea of where this came from. But the New York Post seemed to know that there were several people that were in Nia's class of people who got released that wouldn't take the vaccine. And I remember on our episode, Meelz, we kind of whittled down the numbers of who we already knew were anti-vaxxers and and there were maybe 2 or 3 people that we were unsure about, but they said more than half of the people that got released was because of this.
Right. Based on very obvious social media activity.
Yes. Nia Jax comes out and says, I don't remember anything like this. I didn't hear of this. But then turns around now and says, "Yes, it was vaccine." What there? I think she's trying to connect the vaccine thing to that, but it's like, uh, and she kind of corroborates it with this next quote where she says, when she was asked if she would change anything, she said, no. I was asked to be a locker room leader. You have to set an example. I'm not a stooge. I'm not going to go stooge anybody out. You want to know somebody's personal business? Go ask them. I don't play by the thing. People are going to listen to you and follow suit. If they do, that's on them. I sit back and think. I got caught up in the blurred lines of Nia Jax. It's Nia Jax 24/7 and shit gets blurred. I can't sit here and be something they want me to be to appease them.
I think all right, so I have multiple thoughts regarding the vaccine thing. It's just not gonna work out. Like if you can't make certain dates, you can't perform on shows, but they're gonna still continue to pay you, and then you have various other people within the company, like you have the top stars, Roman Reigns, and everybody else who they essentially feel like there's worth keeping, who have the vaccine, who can compete on a weekly basis. Your argument is just gonna end up falling eventually to the side, especially considering they have a million other superstars ready in the performance center who can come out and, kind of do the same thing. Um, so I say that for her. The second thing is, you know what? I'll save my second thing towards the end. Did you have anything you wanted to add to this?
Yeah, I think it's just ridiculous. I can remember a lot of people being like, oh man, they let her go during a mental health break because she said so. And I remember thinking like, well, I think if it was the vaccine thing, as the New York Post had said, then that's probably something that had to do with it too. So she basically comes out here, and I feel like there's a lot of statements that are like back and forth, right? You almost kind of get whiplash from it, where it's like Lauren Knight has said it wasn't because of the budget cuts; they want to go to a different direction. Then she talks about Vince saying that you're not gonna be able to make your dates. We know that's a big deal. We
Hmm.
know how featured she was at the time. He really liked her, and she says it like Vince really liked her. And then she's saying she didn't want to be a locker room leader. It seemed like it was like a cultural thing that was going on there.
I think I think Nia Jax essentially I've always got the idea that she kind of, not necessarily in a like a defiant thing, but she kind of does what she wants to do. Um, she kind of performs how she want to perform. She like how she want to act. She's giving what she kind of gives, and that's kind of all that she can give. So none of this necessarily surprises me. She said, "No, I'm not gonna get it." They wanted her to get it. She said, "Oh, but you're gonna need to do this for several days." She's like, "All right, never mind." This is completely, I completely understand. Like this completely lines up for me because of her always general attitude towards everything, in my opinion. She seems like she seems like a, I mean, you know, I would rather hang with her if she's vaccinated, but she seems like a fun hang. But um overall, I think, it just didn't, to be honest, the release is like it's just not working out. Like
Yeah, I don't think it was working out for
in
them.
too many different things. But what I would suggest is, and this is my second thing, I don't know if WWE's incorporated it as of yet, but I do think that they need some sort of in-house therapist with
Mhm,
things that they do, because I always recognize that WWE superstars, especially even before, I'm talking about even back to Ric Flair, thinking he's Ric Flair instead of Richard Flair or Fleer or whatever his name is, and 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 Charlotte and Sasha Banks and Nia Jax and pretty much everyone with the kind of persona that they live by. I think it's very hard after a while, considering how hard they run, for them to distinguish themselves and their
mhm,
characters. And I think it's easier for people who are lower on the card because they aren't held to such a commitment to be able to be in character.
mhm.
Um, but I feel like there's a definitely some sort of, I feel like there's definitely some sort of like meant, it's, I wouldn't say trauma, but there's some sort of thing where it's like they can't, they're trapped into 2-1 and they kind of have to figure out how to be a normal person again, or be able to vent about their problems. Be able to vent about their problems and what are constructive ways to go about it. Um because I feel like going home and definitely taking time off, I 100% support it. But at the end of the day, you're going to come back to the same business that hasn't really changed. And I feel like we need to figure out now the best way to kind of deal with these things, with these superstars and these wrestlers and stuff like that, who are having kind of I guess, what can I call this? Um I guess sort of issues between distinguishing themselves, the character, and distinguishing themselves as a person.
Yeah, it's like a disassociative type thing, like with their
Yeah.
character. Yeah, it is tough, but I'm gonna be real. I think Nia is really like just didn't like where she was. like
Nah, I
I
can see that. I mean, to be honest with you, I can feel that as well. But yeah, I could see in the way that she did promos, the effort that she gave, I felt like she gave the very little minimal effort, especially during that PC era. Um, and it showed.
Yeah, you couldn't tell it on anyone else that they were stressed but her. So it was definitely like, yeah, I don't know, but I definitely feel nothing for that vaccine stuff. Like if that's really a reason or a part of the reason, I get it. As a company at that time, maybe not so much now with everything going back to. I mean, things are starting to open up again. You know what I'm saying? Like the virus is still dangerous, but to a lot of people, it's peaked, and they're like, okay, we might we're sort of seeing kind of like a light, a small light,
Mhm.
but not. But it's like, yo, people are getting vaccinated. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's no argument to be had with her here. People are doing what they got to do. People don't want to be in this shit forever. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So okay. She also said that she turned down they offered her to be in the Royal Rumble. She
Yeah, I
said
would,
no.
to be honest, I would have turned it down too. Like,
Yeah, it's too early.
I would have been
Too
like,
early.
"Yo, what the fuck are you guys thinking?"
She said that it was she was gonna agree to be on a list, and then Vince would say yes or no to being on that list, which is kind of weird.
Nah, to be honest, that didn't make any sense. So you don't want her there because she's not vaccinated, but you would rather her show up to the Rumble that one time. To me, that doesn't make sense from a WWE standpoint. You let her go for a reason, but then you want to bring her back for one night to celebrate her knowing that, you know.
Well, at least if she tested positive, she couldn't go anyway. Lord knows what she does.
Right.
Who knows what she does? All right, one more interview here. Velveteen Dream. Haven't heard that name in a while on this
Woo!
show.
All right, let's get to the tough part.
Yeah. He was on a podcast called Dishing Drama with Dana Wilkie. Never heard of this before. But he comments on the allegations, and he said about the allegations. He says they were bullshit, 100% bullshit. He said, I'd like to throw this in there as well. The victim was one that when he decided to show up on social media with his bullshit allegations, he started the hashtag Fire Velveteen Dreams. That's what it cost me. An investigation was done by WWE. Our COO, Paul Levesque, better known as Triple H, went on record and said there was nothing WWE found that would incriminate me or cause any concern for the company, a company who sells to children, and I'm being accused of soliciting sex for minors. Come on. WWE found nothing. They even tried to put me back in the program with one of their top stars, and then after the Fire Velveteen Dream hashtag blew up, they were doing the digital audience and someone showed up in their place instead of a person. It was the hashtag Fire Velveteen Dream. We remember that. I remember
Oh
that.
yeah.
That was crazy. And the guy got kicked out and he was like bragging about it. And I was like, okay. That was like weird. Um, so remember those times. It was a really weird, contemptuous time. This was, I believe he was talking about Adam Cole. That was
Mhm.
the program he was in at that time.
Mhm.
I honestly had thought that had any of that stuff not happened, I thought that might have been the time that they probably would have put the belt on him, to be honest with you. Like he was, I felt like they would, that's what it was trending to, is that they
Mhm.
were going to put the belt on him. But, I mean, what's your temperature on this? I know he's gonna. You want me to say the rest of it before we kind of,
Uh, yeah, keep going.
because this is information that we knew. We knew WWE did an investigation. We knew Triple H talked about it several times. I even talked about it on the show, saying, if they found something, he'd be gone because they can't play with shit like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they can't play around with shit like that.
Nigga, they've
Uh,
they've done they've done more for less. They said, "Greg Hamilton, get off Instagram now."
yeah. Yeah, like especially with the way the company was changing at the time, they can't fuck around with that. Especially if they found out now,
Yeah.
they're not fucking around with some shit like that. So Dream continued by saying, WWE gave me time, trying to distance me from the travesty of it all, and then brought me back on a smaller scale to work with one of their mid card guys. Remember that? That was Kushida. Then he went on to the Ciampa feud. I got a couple of months out of that, but Fire Velveteen Dream was still trending. Every time I went on TV, it would begin to trend. WWE in the middle of cancel culture. Ugh, t- tugging my collar, that one, found itself at a loss. Money talks and they have shareholders. Even if they found me to be innocent, now I'm affecting the bottom line. At least the bottom line they have with me, the money they can make me, the way they can utilize me on TV. That's what it cost me. It cost me my career. It cost me a chance to not only continue a dream, but almost have guaranteed support from my family. It was horrible. As soon as I got fired, the air cleared. Everyone deleted their messages. Everyone deleted their vlogs. No one had nasty, rude, hateful messages to send. It all stopped. It was as if the job got done and now we can all live our lives except for the guy playing Velveteen Dream, me.
Hmm. Okay. So several thoughts about this.
Mhm.
One, I kind of understand his plight. Um, from the standpoint of they didn't find anything, and now my career is I'm essentially blacklisted, and I have this, the scarlet letter pretty much for the rest of my career, um, for something that was never proven that I actually did.
Mhm.
However, I think we talked about this when it all kind of went down, but you got to say something, bro. You can't let, or actually, if this isn't true, I would definitely, and you have nothing to hide and you're sure they found nothing and all this other stuff like that, you need to sue whoever started this for defamation of character, because they've absolutely ruined. Now, will some booker hire you in the future? Probably. But they've absolutely ruined your career.
Mhm.
They've ruined your livelihood. The family that you're trying to feed, all this other stuff like that, created all this mental stress. If that means enough to you, then fight for what you essentially are fighting for and what you believe in, and fight for your innocence. At no point during this entire time did he put up a fight for his innocence until it
Mhm.
was too late. And he cites that the reason was because he wanted to maintain kayfabe. And I'm like, first of all, kayfabe is very blurred at this point in 2020,
What the
2021.
fuck does that even mean?
Yeah, it
Like,
doesn't matter. Like fucking if Randy Orton's on TV in a fucking spelling bee, he doesn't give a if someone talks shit about him, he's gonna respond. Like it doesn't to me, it's so stupid to
for
not
him to not have said anything to
yeah.
protect himself, if it is as untrue as he said, he looked guilty and allowed himself to look guilty for a whole year. Whoever told him that is dumb as hell.
And they
You know what I'm
made
saying?
and he essentially he makes the company as well because Triple H is out here on every call saying, "We found nothing. Please stop asking me. We've
Mhm.
done the investigation. They found absolutely nothing." And he's constantly having to defend himself. And now it's making the NXT brand, it's making the WWE brand for still, hiring him and having him hired and stuff like that. Albeit he's a very talented guy, very talented and very young too. So the fact that this happened this early in his career is just kind of insane because he's very, very young. But to be honest, when he started dyeing his fucking beard blonde, I knew some shit was going on with him. You never
Yeah,
know.
he's a weird dude, and what he's accused of is weird, and we're never gonna see him again. But at the end of the day, you're coming out still 2 years after everything happened, and it's not enough. It's really just not enough. Like
It's a little too late. Like you let the
Yeah.
fire start and you let it burn down everything instead of saying like, let me get rid of this right now. And I mean, I feel for him from the standpoint of like, if this isn't true, your entire career is finished. And the one thing that you love that you wanted to accomplish and did all this other stuff like that, you went on tough enough to follow a dream. You end up getting hired by the WWE. You're this close to reaching any sort of modicum of heights. And this kind of comes down. But at the same time, it's like, yo, fight for yourself. If I can give him any advice that he would have, it's like fight for your innocence if you're truly innocent. If this is truly not true, fight for it. The
Mhm.
same thing it's in a completely different way, but the same thing that fucking Daniel Bryan and Edge did when they were trying to fight for their career and fight for something they love. They went to every doctor. They spared no expense. They spared expense out of their own pockets to go see 5, 6, 7, 9 doctors to say like, okay, I want to be cleared to do this. They fought for what they love. If you truly believe in this, you have to fight for that too. But if you're
Mhm.
not willing to, then we have nothing to talk about. The when you were let go and all the fire Velveteen Dream things stopped, you're out of the social consciousness. You don't even have social media. You know what I'm saying? No one's
Yeah.
going to talk about you because of that reason. You're gone. You're done for. No one has heard from you since. The only things we've heard was the statement that he did before and this statement now. So, I mean,
You fucked up, bud.
yeah, it's fucked up, but you gotta take it. You gotta take some shit in your own hands, bro. Like
Fucked up, buddy. I don't know what. Uh,
if it's not true, it's fucked up. But at the end of the day, like yo, fight for yourself. Like you really got to go out and you really got to like take this shit for yourself because you can't. Why would you stand for this? Why would you just let this thing linger? It's still lingering now.
yeah. Every time you come up, boom, right there again. You probably
Yeah,
started the hashtag again today just by
it
saying
makes
anything.
people feel uncomfortable. Like just
Mhm.
mentioning your like even when you mentioned that we were gonna bring this news up, I was uncomfortable. But you know, these are the type of statements that people want to hear regarding this. Not like I did this because I wanted to protect the Velveteen Dream character. Damn that character. The character's gone now. So now what?
Yeah. I don't know. Just weird. It's just weird. I don't even know why he did that podcast. Just get your CDL, bro. Shout out to Anvavelli. Get the CDL. All right. After the break, we're gonna talk Royal Rumble. We're gonna talk Raw and Ronda.
Mm.
I wouldn't blame you if you'd like to start with an appetizer like Charlotte Flair before going for the main meal. You know, sip down a cup of gazpacho. Or if you'd like to go straight for the meat and potatoes and choose me as your opponent, well, I'm all game. But if you could please decide soon, because the Raw Women's Division has never been hotter thanks to me, and I would like to know who I am going to beat next. So come on, time is money, and when you're big time, it's big money. So who's it gonna be? I think the people want to know who's it going to be. That's why you came out here, isn't it?
Oh, no. Oh. Nice arm throw.
You'll have my answer on Friday.
Poor Becky, man.
Damn, she's still terrible.
Gave her nothing to work with. Absolutely nothing to work with.
Yo, also gazpacho, meat and potatoes. Could you sound any more Irish, Becky? Please.
I know she's great. Well, here's my thing that I feel bad for. Okay, like obviously Ronda Rousey's back. That's a big deal. There was really nothing for the fans or the viewers to latch on to. It was still Becky working her hardest as she's been working her hardest for the past couple months. You know, to a higher extent with Doudrop, and to other extents trying to work with Liv and trying to get Liv to where she needs to be. Like Becky to me looks like the most giving person in the company in terms of just how much she's willing to give for people. And it's like that segment, I was just like, okay, Ronda, and go. Like she's like looking at her like, please go.
She's a fucking cyborg, man.
Listen, cold in the ring, bruh. One of the coldest in that their ring. Everything else is just over with. Like I can't understand it. I can't understand it.
Let's talk about the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Where this all began. Where the road to WrestleMania truly began roading and truly began WrestleManiaing.
How did this become the worst show they've ever done? Is my question.
Okay.
Yeah, it is literally. I look on Sports Illustrated, uneven. I'm like, huh? I could only, to me, think of one really bad thing on the show, and that was the end. And it was just like but it wasn't like Fiend Seth bad. It wasn't, it wasn't like the most awful main event. It clearly looked like they were rushed for time, and it was confirmed that they were. But it was like it was a bunch of course correcting on the show, matched with 4 really good undercard matches, which I.
What I'll say is, regarding the Russia, why this is regarded as one of the worst things is, I think the idea that WWE pushed a button and just decided, now this is what we're doing, is kind of where this all comes in.
They always do that.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, though, because like it's not that I don't think this is the worst. I actually think this is a very good Royal Rumble. But however, I think when you talk about those exclamation points, when you look up at Ronda and Brock and stuff like that, Brock, I'm a little less thing, but I understand that still the contemptuous attitude towards Brock. Ronda, I guess it just came out of, so you spend maybe like the last, I'll say until when Becky come back. Let's start with Becky came back. You spent the number of years building up a division in some sort of way, and you kind of want to, fans at least want to kind of see it rewarded in a way, which is the Royal Rumble, which is the main event at WrestleMania. No one had any qualms about what happened last year because it was organic and it happened the way it happened. To take the entire efforts of, and this is why I can only surmise that the women wrestling fans are angry, because they are 100% livid at what went on. But because you spent so many months, you build up all these contenders, all these other people that come in fact, and then Ronda kind of just shows up at number 28 and kind of just like completely usurps the main event, and you kind of got to live through essentially the year of Ronda that you kind of did in 2018, 2019, which was,
How do they know that? How do they know that though?
No, I mean, you don't really know that, but that's how the company is going to work, right? Like this is Ronda Rousey we're talking about.
Biggest star.
Absolutely the biggest star. But it's that star that kind of, it can kind of like the development of actual stars itself could actually kind of like take a back seat. I could
There
see that.
are 4 or 5 people who are probably exempt from that. They probably will be fine. Worst show ever just because of that though? Not at all.
I think,
I mean,
and then the way it ended with the men's Royal Rumble. I think with the men's Royal Rumble, it was the most obvious result that everyone has ever seen.
but it's weird. But it's weird because it's like the women's rumble was really still good.
No, the
The
women's
ending
Rumble was
doesn't change.
fantastic. I think
It
that was
doesn't
really good.
change. Yeah, it doesn't change. And I think the women outdid the men this year, even with the winner. I don't care. It was what it was. We knew. Listen, y'all niggas be on the internet all day. It was tweeted to you. It was reported to you last Tuesday after our show aired. It was told to you multiple times last week that she was coming back by people who were you don't believe in people you do believe. When it's that many people telling you it's about to happen, it's gonna happen. Okay, so y'all knew what was happening. Y'all knew what the deal was, and then when you got the story, it is what it is. So now you got it. It is what it is. You won't stop watching.
I mean,
That's up
no
to
one
you.
will ever stop watching.
No one will ever stop.
I
Someone's
don't
gonna
think
stop.
they'll. Well, I mean, multiple millions of people stopped watching over the last 20 years, but that's how TV goes. However, I do think that I can kind of see.
I also think it's quote unquote not fun because someone's faves didn't win, and I
Oh
think
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
also has to do with it.
I mean, yes, it's very much so big stand-up.
My
Like,
my my fave didn't. Here's my thing. My fave didn't win. The person that we predicted didn't win. The person that we've been saying for months didn't win. And we didn't fall out over it. Like I don't understand. Like I didn't like pass out whatever. And it wasn't because like I accept everything that they do. It's because I was like, oh, that's where they're going. Okay. I don't
I think
understand like how.
because I think we see things as a company making decisions, whereas people have some other vested interest in this. I think personally, you and definitely me view this all as characters on the screen, whereas other people don't necessarily view that, or they're much more invested in a different way. And people do that with their faves. To be honest with you, I'm invested with all the stuff that the Miz does, but I respect him more as a performer than an actual like. I'm not crying because he hasn't gotten a WWE title shot. Well, he got his first WWE title shot in like damn near a decade, like last year. Um, because I just know that this is a character. It is what it is. It is in TV, and I think most fans don't necessarily accept things like that. They have a lot more. They've kind of taking a lot more narratives, whether it be the Bianca WWE doesn't fuck with black people type of narrative, or the, why is Liv being treated this way? Why is Sasha Banks being eliminated this early? Why is all this? And they take all these narratives and they combine it and they're so invested within that, in their own characters, that when something else happens that's monumental and it doesn't happen for their fave, and actually their fave is actually takes a is the actually takes the hit from it. Similar to
Mm.
Bianca at SummerSlam, similar to, this, I guess, 29 other women at fucking the Royal Rumble. Then everyone's like, damn, that's fucked up. Like, I think it is really by person, because I think if you take a fan who is just who has not watched WWE, or who's just a casual viewer, they see this shit and they're like, oh, Ronda's cool. She's one of the toughest bitches in the world. Of course she can knock everyone else out.
Yeah.
But I think it's that extra investment that people have, which I don't blame them to, because people fall in love with characters. People just do. Well, I think we view it as something kind of else.
I
Now,
think a lot of people do something else.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
The
some
Brock,
people are just they're just so like it has to be this way. And why didn't they do it this way? It's like I don't know.
now
Like who's
the Brock thing for me, is tiring in a kind of way, because I think it's been happening for too long, and they've hit the Brock button too much. They've hit it in my opinion, they've hit it way too much. They hit it at day one. They hit it when he came back. They've hit it at Money in the Bank a couple years ago. They've hit it. This is what the company is going to do because Brock Lesnar's a draw, and I 100% understand that. But to me, it's happening way too. It's like watching the rematch, but me complain about Biggie and Apollo facing each other every week, or Bobby Lashley beating up people every week. To me, that's where I come with my contention for why the main event happened, because I'm like, yo, we dead ass saw this before. And now, even when we go to Monday Night Raw, which we'll talk about, it's even more confusing, or actually a lot more It's either more confusing or more absolutely clear on WrestleMania, if that makes sense.
Don't you want it to be clear?
Um, I want a story to take me out of the element of like, yo, I can predict everything that happens. Sometimes you want just that unpredictability. But you knew that Brock was gonna. I felt as soon as we were texting during this, and it was like as soon as AJ got eliminated, it was like, oh, Brock must be winning.
Yeah, I mean,
But now,
I was like, I always say this: the most predictable option, they will always take it because it's the safest option. What would have been not safe for them to do? Not put Brock Lesnar in the main event? I mean, he's back.
and it kind of feels like to me now more than ever, which I thought was a complete. Every time everyone suggested it, I thought was a dumbass plan. But it kind of feels like to me they're heading towards the thing of Brock Lesnar is going to be Universal Champion going into WrestleMania, and Roman Reigns is going to. Sorry, Brock Lesnar is going to be WWE Champion, and Roman Reigns is going to be Universal Champion. That's how it feels to me.
Biggest, most stupendous.
Most fucking stupendous main event ever.
Mm-hmm.
100,000 people.
Yeah.
So I get why they're doing it, but you know,
you got to get there. Like I said, if Roman doesn't catch COVID, a lot of these decisions aren't made as far as the men go.
do you think Brock Lesnar is still in the main event of WrestleMania if Roman Reigns doesn't catch COVID?
Yeah, I think that was always going to be
right.
The match. I think it was always going to be the match. That right now we're in the chase period for Brock, and they had to speed it up the chase period because he got COVID. If we were to draw comparisons or parallels, I would say what you'd say. Brock probably loses at day one.
Yeah,
he goes
because
to
Paul Heyman turns on him.
He'll turn on him there. Seth probably wins or something at day one, that match. Brock, in order to get back to Roman, probably wins the Royal Rumble anyway, 29 days later.
Mm-hmm.
And then he picks Roman, or in some way, shape, or form, he probably gets a WWE title at that point. Mm-hmm. I think that's what happens. I think that's a better story than what they did there. I will agree with you. But they had to move it up 28 days. This 28 days was probably the most contentious in terms of storytelling for these guys right now because they had to change everything over. But I can understand the Roman Brock thing. This will be their fourth main event at WrestleMania.
Yeah. And then also, I mean, Saudi pay-per-view, they just faced each other. They were going to face each other day one, blah, blah, blah.
It's their Rock Stone Cold.
I don't even think that's their Rock Stone Cold, because Rock Stone Cold are like two magnanimous. They're like, it's from a draw standpoint.
Roman is that?
Yeah, but is it from a draw standpoint? But I don't see Roman. I don't see them as foils for one another, even on like a cultural standpoint. I just see them as two major guys who see each other as an obstacle. I don't see them a foil as kind of like the Rock and thing. That's why the argument for like Bianca versus Becky that's closer to Rock and Stone Cold for me, because it's kind of like a world of characters and all this other stuff. Someone's at their peak, someone on the upcoming rise. They're both completely massive stars. I see this more as like, I guess, what can I relate this to? Like, I guess Hogan and Macho Man, kind of. I don't know.
That's fair.
It seems like just two massive stars that are colliding with one another, and they're doing this for this big. It's a big box office thing, you know.
You can't deny, regardless of how many times you've seen it, you can't deny that like it's the biggest match for Roman.
It's the biggest match they have. Period. If The Rock isn't coming back,
yeah, he's beaten everyone. There's no one I believe on that main roster that is ready. And I said, and that goes into my complaints with the Rumble. And I said this to you when we were watching it. They had 2 years to make someone feel important on that roster. And all they had was those 10 guys and AJ that came out at the end. No one else knew anyone's theme, nothing. When they heard Orton, of course they popped there in STL. They heard Riddle, they pop. They heard AJ, they pop. Everyone else, big blank, because it's just not. But those last 10 guys, they knew who the fuck they were. Riddle hit a crazy RKO. That was
that
like
was
my
sick.
favorite part of the match.
Yeah,
That was one of the
sick.
craziest RKOs I've ever seen in my life. We thought that it would have been the two of them, but it's like, it was always Brock, and it just is what it is, man. Like,
I love the disdain for why is Shane McMahon in the Final Four, because also me.
he produced it. He produced it. Same reason why Molly Holly was out there, because she probably produced it, and she probably told Nikki Ash, tell this person do this, tell this person do this, tell this person do this, and hurry this shit up. That's literally why she probably came out.
Oh my god. Let's talk about a few highlights. A few highlights from Royal Rumble, then we head over to Raw, and then we wrap this up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Roman Seth?
Roman Seth was an absolute highlight from the beginning. That's the best match that, even with the result, probably a match of the year candidate. And that's tough to do.
Absolutely. With the DQ. Absolutely. I think I'm so mad they're dropping this.
I hope they don't. I really hope they don't.
I am so mad they're dropping this.
I hope, because Seth Rollins is in that Elimination Chamber too, right?
Yes.
I hope Seth Rollins has just as much motivation to take Brock out of that match as Brock has to win this match, for whatever fucking shit reason that Brock Lesnar just wants to hold the title for whatever fucking reason. But I hope
I think his story is he wants to take the title off of Roman, because it's basically like his lifeblood.
Yeah, but he don't need the fucking Universal title to do that. But we'll see if that happens. It hasn't happened yet, so I don't feel like complaining about it. But I hope Seth has just enough motivation, but it didn't seem like it from Monday. He was just laughing and cackling and all this other shit, kikiing with Kevin Owens and shit. That's what the segment should be called, kikiing with Kevin Owens.
But I just thought everything from the Shield thing, it's like, that's storytelling. That's how you bring this shit back to. And the thing the reason it bothers me is that we won't see this version of Roman ever again.
That's right. That's the worst part. The vulnerable, affected, reacting Roman Reigns. Like, we won't see that again. That's what bothers me the most, because he needs that so much for his character. It like, of course it handicaps him in a way, but it completely fills out his character for the man to have fears and worries and all this other stuff like that, and have something in the back of his head. Don't just drop that shit.
But you also had in the match, Roman was dominated to a level that we've never seen before.
That's just his respect for Seth. That's his respect for Seth.
Yeah, like he was dominated in that match and gave Seth a lot, and vice versa. I loved even at the DQ finish that Seth never tapped. He never let go of the rope. He still didn't beat Seth. And that's a great story to go into the next match. Why would you drop this? It's like, you can make this a big money match. I know it's Brock Lesnar. I fucking know. I know it's Brock Lesnar. But you can make Seth Roman a WrestleMania main event, bro. Like, you really can off of that. That's the story. Like, I don't know. I'm so upset that they're going to drop that. Was another highlight
Women's Royal Rumble
of the show. Women's Royal Rumble was fantastic, and I think mostly because of what it did, what the men's couldn't do, and that was have really sensical entries for the women. Of course, you had like the Cameron thing into Naomi, the Sasha thing, which, okay, Sasha being eliminated at number 1 like was so weird, but
the weirdest part is how they started a Royal Rumble and someone with Sailor Moon cosplay. That was fucking weird as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, you're trying to show your friends a Royal Rumble, and it's like, here comes Sailor Moon.
But like right after that, they had Bianca come out, so that people literally, unless you were like a part of the crew, it literally had Bianca come out right after, and everyone forgot about Sasha. Not forgot about her, but forgot to be mad about it because Bianca was out. The Nikki Ash stuff with Molly was good. They had stories that if you were paying Ivory with Rhea, all of that stuff was just so well done. It was like, if this was a love letter to, like, if you really love the women's division, all throughout your life, this is what you love. You know what I'm saying? This is what you get. So
minus Ronda coming up in house and every bitch in there, but yes.
I mean, I mean, shit. Like, I like the Shayna moment.
I agree. I like that as well.
When she saw Shayna, like, even everything. Here's the thing: you can't say the Ronda thing didn't make sense because she really didn't. For real, Meelz, she didn't really come in there and just throw everybody out. She didn't. Like, Shayna threw out a bunch of people. Bianca was still throwing people out. Like, it wasn't like she didn't Brock it. Okay, like there were moments where she was just she looked terrible and tired. Yes, But
She just
I
had a
even
baby
thought
3 months ago. That's insane.
even with the whatever the win, I'm okay. Politics aside, she has shitty politics. Okay, she's a shitty person. I'm judging the show on the show because that's what we do. We judge the show on the show. It was a sensical win. It's looking to be Charlotte. She's gonna say it on Friday. We know it's gonna be Charlotte. They're just playing coy. We already know Charlotte requested it, and they do whatever she fucking wants her to do. Boom, there you go.
Listen, better her than Becky. I swear to God.
Yeah,
I swear to God. Listen, SmackDown needs it though. SmackDown needs it definitely. SmackDown needs a
it,
Ronda appearance every now and then.
no. Well, she's booked in every SmackDown except for one up until Mania.
You think she'll be in Brooklyn?
Yeah, I mean they're going to Brooklyn too. Yeah, she's booked. She's the only one she's missing is I believe. Don't quote me on this. Someone's gonna correct me. Ohio or something. North Carolina. She's not. She's not going to be in North Carolina. She's not going to be in North Carolina. The North Carolina one. She's not going to be.
All right,
Yeah.
yeah, we don't need that. But okay. I mean, that's very interesting. So it remains to see. I mean, it looks like Ronda versus Charlotte at WrestleMania. Following with that, I'll give my applause to Miz and Maurice versus Edge and Beth Phoenix. I thought
Fun match. What a fun match.
yeah, I thought everyone did a great job in that match. It probably went over. It probably was the reason why the Rumble was so fucking short. Because if one thing Edge gonna do, he gonna get his fucking time, especially with his wife.
Every time that match was 20 something minutes, and I was like,
they went
bangers,
hurricanranas, double glam slams, spears, double skull crushing finales. They went ham sandwich in that bitch. So,
yeah, I liked it a lot. Congratulations to Edge and Beth. Like that was such a fantastic thing to see, man. Like I really like to see that. That's really dope. He's having a blast. Like I said earlier in the show, he's having a fucking blast on this run.
and
Becky Dewdrop.
oh,
that was a good match.
It was good. It was too quick. I might have to watch it on YouTube like in 2023.
Yeah, it was good. I think where we had to come off the Ronda win.
Yeah,
I think everyone was still WTFing at that.
They should have played that up a little bit with Becky, to be honest with you. They should have had them walk past one another in gorilla or something. Like just to settle it in and give some Becky a couple of doubt, because ain't nobody think she was gonna lose to Doudrop. But just a little bit, I don't know, something.
But shout out Dewdrop though, because she did it took a Superman handle slam to take her out, and I thought that made her look great. What else?
Shout out to Bobby
on the show. Yeah, Bobby winning again.
Shout out to Bobby winning again. Didn't think he was gonna win again, but here we are. But maybe that's the thing with society as well. Like maybe we got to stop looking in the worst for a lot of the guys that we have here. I don't think anyone expected Bobby Lashley to win the title again, but here he is.
No one expects anything. Was this another L for the Let It Play Out crowd?
It might have been. I mean, niggas still hitting my mentions asking me about Adam Cole and why I still think it's sad that this man lost to a fucking comedy character in the main event of Dynamite. And people come into my mentions talking about he would have been in the 24/7 hunt or a manager or something along those lines. I was like, yo, I'm not judging that because none of it's happened. He has not went to the main roster. He didn't do it. So there's nothing I can judge against. All I'm judging him is on his NXT run and his AEW run. And I'm gonna tell you, one was way better than the other one thus far. But hey, that's what we're doing. I also love Bad Bunny. Shout out to Bad Bunny.
He's great. Good Royal Rumble. We had a lot for the worst show ever. We had a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I agree.
Both positive and negative. Like it was a show that whether you liked it or not, it made you think. And that's what most of these shows don't do. It made you at least think, and you'll remember it. And you had an all timer there in the opening match. Roman don't do opening matches, so I knew something was up.
Well, he does it sometimes. He does it when he don't want to be there. I'm assuming. Like remember his Hell in a Cell against Jey Uso? That was an opening match.
Yeah, but he came back literally 2 hours later.
Oh yeah, that's true.
For the Brock match. So Raw was good, man. I'm not even gonna cap you down, bro.
I'm not even gonna hold you. I was playing Pokemon during most of Raw.
You missed some really great matches.
I would peek from time to time. I would peek. I'm like, oh, there's a banger. Let me go catch this fucking Per Ugly or something along the lines. Like, let me do one of those. But I would peek from time to time. I saw the AJ versus Rey Mysterio match. I was locked in for that one.
Banger. Listen, man, a lot of great matches. I think this is gonna be one of them years for AJ. I'm gonna call it right now.
Also,
He worked it.
sorry about the thing. Sidebar. How do you feel about Drew coming back?
It was it was the moment where I said, "Thank you, God, somebody's here to turn this fucking match up." Because that's when the match got turned up. That was when the Rumble got turned up. I'm glad he's okay. It seems like I'm glad it wasn't as serious as people were saying, or they may have been saying it was more serious to hold him until the
I think
Rumble.
he said he rehabbed his ass off. So
okay, so that means he was like, I ain't going outside.
Yeah. He was essentially like that. No days off. I need to be here for WrestleMania. But I'm glad that he's back. I'm interested to see where he fits in now. I'm not sure if he was figured into the Mania main event plans at any point, but he's gonna have to be figured into something now. So we shall see.
Yeah.
And I hope it's not Corbin for WrestleMania. Just kick him in the face and be done with this, please.
Yeah, that was another one. It was like, of all the fucking people you have on the sideline that weren't in that fucking Rumble, we had to see extended minutes for fucking Madcap Moss and Baron Corbin. Stop it. I'm tired of these niggas, man.
Absolutely.
Get them out of here. I'm done.
Absolutely. Can I communicate you with one of my problems on Raw last night?
What? Yes, you can. Yes, you can communicate to me.
Kevin Owens. I get it. He's not going to Saudi Arabia. But he just won last week.
I know.
Can we hold that? Please.
You know what I think is going on? I think Damian Priest might be hurt, or is it continuing to get hurt? He wasn't on the show tonight. There's weeks where he will like, there were certain weeks where he just wouldn't be on the show. I think he might have got hurt again or something.
Man.
I would expect that when he gets back, they're going to continue that storyline. But yeah, I get it. Yeah, but to be fair, if he wasn't going to go, he gave Austin Theory, I think, his best match that he's had.
I agree. But come on. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I had forgotten. I asked Twitter, and thank you to everybody who answered the question on Twitter. Like, I forgot that he doesn't go, and I was like, Austin Theory beat KO. I'm like, on a regular day, that shit ain't happening. I was like, oh, but it was smart of them to be able to give Austin the rub by omission for KO. So it was cool for him to do that.
I feel like put me against somebody else, man. Like, come on, man.
Ooh, who on that show? They don't have anyone.
Fucking.
Did you see the LA Knight thing? They did a digital exclusive with him, Harland, and Gacy.
No,
and
when the hell was that?
It was like an hour before we started recording. But LA Knight says he's ready to move on. He says he's ready to go. He's ready to leave NXT. So he's openly saying he's leaving NXT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope Rowdy says that tonight too.
Yeah.
Good showings on Main Event. Listen, you want to get me watch Main Event? Put some NXT motherfuckers on that show.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's pretty much a given that it's more than likely going to be Roddy Ciampa somehow done. I'm a little concerned about the way his offense translates, and LA Knight. Who do you think got the biggest upside between those four?
Part of me wants
controversial.
Part of me wants to say LA Knight because he's jacked, but also
I'm gonna say Roddy. I think Roddy got that Gable in him. They need a guy like that.
I absolutely agree. I agree. Listen, I was telling him, listen, if Roddy has an even modicum of success on the main roster, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I know what y'all gonna say, but I don't want to hear it. Don't let this man get a title. Don't let this man get any sort of modicums. Don't let him start feuding with some big guy, because I'm not gonna want to hear it. That's all I'm about to say about that.
Yeah. No, I agree. Absolutely. So Elimination Chamber.
Mm-hmm.
Shaping up to be, to me, one of the biggest eliminate. This is definitely like the best, right? Just with Brock being there, it's automatically something you got to watch. But you got Brock, Bobby, Seth, Theory, AJ Styles, and I'm missing one person. It's 6. I'm missing one person, aren't I?
Seth?
Riddle. Oh my God, Riddle.
Riddle's in it?
Yes, Riddle's in it.
Yeah, he's definitely in it. Okay. Well, listen, man. This is about to sell some Mattel play sets for sure. This match gonna sell a lot of Mattel, if I may say so myself. Nah, this is definitely the biggest one. What the Saudi Prince wants, the Saudi Prince gets.
Yeah. It man, I think I was like, bro, this is a match that I automatically want to see. Win or lose, this is a big look for people like Riddle, who I think they really want to put a lot into very soon. In theory, who I think is a project for them in the next year to get something out of him. Seth, of course, coming off that fantastic match. Brock, they got history there. Bobby too, who I think one of our new Discord members, Jalen, said it best. Like he looks to be as transitional gets in the next 20 days with that title.
Listen, man, don't let him do it. It's Black History Month. You know how the Twitter is gonna get.
Yeah,
you know how Twitter gonna get. Bianca Belair gets another win. Can't stop that train. Still funny. If you were in the spaces and you heard that back and forth, but Dion dropped that bomb.
It's like so obvious too. It's like, what the fuck would she? Why would she say, "I'm going to tell y'all on Friday"?
Like
what?
If Dion dropped that bomb, if you weren't in the spaces, there were definitely. So we had a couple people on stage. We're talking about the Bianca thing, and it's like the let it play out crowd is definitely taking that L because Bianca is not going to fight at WrestleMania. It's going to be Charlotte versus Lita. And then because Ronda's choosing Becky, and Dion, in all his great mindful power, said,
Infinite wisdom.
So if Ronda chooses Charlotte, then who's Becky supposed to like? Who Becky gonna face then? And I tell you, it's really hard for spaces with like 14 people to be silent for a moment.
No, it was like 100 and some people in there.
Nah, but like on stage, like 14
on
people,
stage, yeah.
to kind of like stop, and then we laughed because listen,
Absurd.
I'm praying the best for. Listen, if it don't happen for Bianca, I'm gonna be sad, but it's.
But if Becky and I'm praying for Becky for these next couple months while they get the Bianca thing sorted out. Because Lita's
a name. Lita's a legend.
She's a legend, but she did not look good on Saturday.
Listen, Lita's a legend, but it's the standard. The bar is raised up. The bar is a little bit raised up.
Yeah. Now there's only realistically 3 people that Becky could face. 2 of them are going to face each other.
I mean,
she's beaten everyone on the roster.
100,000 people. If this Lita feud extends past Elimination Chamber, it's gonna look weird. But I believe in Bianca. I believe that they're making Bianca beat the shit out of the rest of the roster for a reason.
They're definitely getting her wins up. Yeah, she's getting her wins up.
She's beating Liv. She's beating Zelina. She's beating Carmella. She's beating Doudrop. She's beating everyone that they put in front of her. I truly believe that's happened for a reason. I could be wrong, but let's wait and see.
No, don't say I could be wrong. Say what it is.
Listen, I want to say that it is, but I don't know. But I'm strongly, I have a strong suspicion we're going to see Bianca versus Becky at WrestleMania. Also, I think it was reported that was the plan.
Yeah, it's. Listen, multiple people have reported this. So if I'm going to be on the Let It Play Out crowd.
You got some hate for being on the Let It Play Out crowd.
I don't even think I said that.
Listen, sometimes you want some shit to play out. Well, you didn't say it because you weren't on the show afterwards. But sometimes I want some shit to play out. Sometimes I can't give the benefit of the doubt just immediately.
Yeah. Whatever.
Nigga, whatever. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, you don't better than me. I'm happy. Y'all mad. I'm happy.
Why is it also a dunk for Bianca to not be successful? Like, why is that like a self-fulfilling prophecy to be happy that she wouldn't get a WrestleMania match this year?
Because then they're right about wrestling companies being inherently racist and not for black people. And if that's the
So why are
case,
you
then
watching?
please
Why
stop
are you
watching.
watching them?
Yeah, just stop
Yeah,
watching.
like why are you watching them then? I don't get the thought process of, well, dunked on you, told you they weren't gonna do it. I honestly before that night, I did not know people actually like. I don't go to those spaces that are like they say like WWE is racist. I don't go in there.
I don't know if that was a conversation, but I definitely went to I went to some after our spaces because I was still up. Shout out to Mega Ran for the shout out. Um,
Yeah, I I don't go in there like the AEW ones. I don't go in the WWE. I don't go in either of those.
no, no,
The
no,
whoever's racist, whatever. I don't do it. I did not know people spoke like that. I did not know people actually said that like out loud.
nah.
I
People are
didn't.
very vehemently they racist, and this is why.
Okay, well, there
Yeah.
you go.
Also, want to send just briefly because I know we got to really get out of here. Want to send my support to like Swollen Cedric because people talking about your children on the internet fucked up, and
Real fuck.
I'm gonna keep it above with you. There's a reason why that's happening. There's
Yeah.
a reason why people
More
feel. There's a reason why people feel comfortable talking any fucking way about these people on the internet.
more mad more mad about
Rhonda.
her. No, not even Ronda. More mad about her live tweeting. Swole was live tweeting the Rumble and saying that there were certain things that she liked. Then, like to that point, bring up her child. Like the people were really shitting on her
People
for.
feel comfortable talking this way about her, and this is what we said in the podcast a couple weeks ago. Like, yo, you start this dialogue, you say that thing for her, and I'm sure the tweet's still fucking up. But you say this thing, you open up the door for every neck beard in the fucking country to feel comfortable talking any fucking way about her, and that's not right.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely want to fuck all the haters. Keep doing what you're doing, Swole. Keep living how you're living.
Mhm. Well, that was Raw. I thought it was a good show.
Good
I thought
show.
the scooter race was hilarious. I'm sorry.
Scooter-
Sorry, not sorry.
I wasn't totally paying attention, but I'll watch it on YouTube.
More specifically, Chad Gable in that role, hilarious. Face Otis, good match. I was like, there's no way Otis is in the Elimination Chamber. It had to be Riddle. Really good win for Riddle. It's like I was saying, it's time for him to start like winning because he takes so many L's that Orton was supposed to take that I was like, there's like, how could I take him serious if they did want to push him towards a title? And it looks like they want to make him look legit in the next couple of months. So, it was a good win for him. AJ Styles Ray was a banger. The Alexa stuff, I don't watch it. I skip it. I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah, me too.
Just bring her back. And Nikki Ash versus Rhea was really good. I thought it was really solid.
Okay, I gotta watch that back.
And even Bianca and Carmella was. So again, good show. Not super promo heavy other than KO and the Brock segment from the beginning, which was just a setup for the Elimination Chamber. So yeah, good show. Two good shows in a row. That means we're Monkey's Paw. Third one's gonna be terrible next week. But yeah, I think that's it for the A show. We got Ronda Rousey on SmackDown on Friday, so we're gonna talk all about that and the fallout from the Royal Rumble for Roman Reigns. Don't know what he's gonna do in the next 2 months or what he's gonna do on Elimination Chamber. You think he's not gonna go?
Roman Reigns?
Yeah, to Saudi.
Nah, he gonna go to Saudi. He gonna go wherever they pay him to go, bro.
So at this point, do you think it's gonna be 2 men's Elimination Chambers at this point?
Nah, I think it's gonna be both Raw men. No, actually, it might not even be the Raw women's one. Actually, it might be. Yeah, it might be the Raw women's one. To be honest with you, honestly, put some SmackDown women in the Raw. I don't know. Whatever. I think it's gonna be a
It
Raw
has to be like
women's
a
one.
last chance. It has to be like a last chance type thing.
Yeah.
Like I mean the women on SmackDown, I don't know, but
I wouldn't put them in a chamber, to be honest with you.
there's only 3 of them you could put in the chamber. This is based off who they're pushing. It would probably be like Sasha, Shotzi, fucking Aaliyah.
I don't think. I always feel like, especially if you're doing the Saudi show, and we're like, if we're really, really doing it, and we're really trying to like big time this fucking shit, don't just leave it up to Raw. I could see Sasha being in that chamber if she's healthy enough, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Sasha, Natalya, Bianca, Liv, Doudrop, somebody else to be thing for the Raw Women's Championship. I know it don't make sense, but it's Saudi, so
Yeah, it don't have to make sense.
yeah, it just has to
So yeah,
happen.
that is the A show. Thank you guys. As always, please subscribe to our Patreon. $5 a month gets you extra shows like Legendary Run, the X8 Diaries, Spot Callers, all of that. We did a really good ECW One Night Stand episode.
I'm about
I
to
love
listen to
doing
that
old
on
shows
the
with
commute
Cyrus.
home. I'm just queuing it up right now.
I love watching old shows with Cyrus and seeing his reaction, and you guys love hearing it. So you might want to pay attention to this month's poll. It's going up this week. But yeah, thank you guys as always. For Meelz, I am Justin. Thank you for listening to the A Show, and we'll see you next week. Peace.